everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast, a weekly show we do where we talk about board games and the people who play them. Today is a new week. In 1 week, Dice Tower West is happening, so that's on my mind, of course. But I wanted to mention a few things to you first. Dice Tower West is sold out, right? And so that's almost here. But if you want to see the fantastic library that we're putting together, and oh my goodness, is it fantastic, then you can come to Dice Tower East, sponsored by Portal Games, which is, you're going to get a Portal game if you come to the convention. In the heart of Orlando, come on out and just have fun playing games with us. Check it out at DicetowerEast.com. And this week, we're opening up registration for Dice Tower Retreat. So we're going to open it up for people who came in the past first, but probably by Friday of this week, and watch Dice Tower Retreat, and our Twitter feed will announce exactly when we're going to open up registration for new people. This is a very small, intimate convention. It is for 150 people. That's the max. But we bring in the full Dice Tower library. And if you just want to come for a few days this coming September and play hardcore gaming, just game, this is the convention for you. Set in the DoubleTree by the airport in Miami, and you can go around and see Miami Beach or Little Havana. You can have a great time. Come on out, check it out. It's going to be fantastic. Sponsored by Restoration Games, so we're hoping to have Return to Dark Tower, the prototype one at least there. It's going to be fun. Check that out. But right now, let's get into this episode. Here we go! This week I found an article, and right now, as I mentioned last week, China's in the news, obviously, and it's not always positive, so I wanted to put a positive spin on something. I found this in the Beijinger, which is games that you can play from around the world on the Go board. Now, Go is probably the most played game in the world, and you say, that can't be true. For sure. Remember, in the Far East, people are playing this everywhere over there. When I lived in Korea, there was a channel that was on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where people were playing Go. It's very popular. It's one of the most pure abstract games out there. And what this article does, and I'll have a link in the description below, this article shows you different games that you can play. One kind of like Chinese checkers, one breakthrough, and they're designed from people in different countries. And I thought this was kind of a clever idea. I'm always find it interesting when people find variants on different things, and this is something that a lot of people might just click by. But if you have a Go board and you're like, hey, I want to do some other things with it, these are some interesting ideas. So something like this is something I wanted to highlight this week. Let's keep moving.
Recently, I finally got Resacana out of the shelf onto the table. This is what I think of it coming up. Hi Stella! If you like Splendor style of game, where you gather resources, convert them the most efficient way, have a look at Resacana. Maybe you have, and I'm pretty like playing it. I like the game like this. The other games similar are Master of Renaissance and Century Golem, and the other Century games in the series. So in Resacana, each player's deck of cards has asymmetric power, but you can purchase limited amount of better cards to build onto your tableau. Your turn basically consists of playing cards onto your tableau or using the cards to gain their benefits. You can get income at the start of each round, and in the game you basically trying to convert resources into points, because most points wins. There are many ways to convert things to points, like convert resources into gold, build cards to convert gold into points, for example. There are cards that benefit you depend on what other players have, cards that remove resources from other players, and cards that prevent the take that action from other players. So a bit of interactions there, other than trying to grab the cards from the common display first. The game has also that Gaia project mechanics, where you select a bonus action tile that round, and when you pass that round, you return that tile and pick another one for the next round. Game end triggers when someone has 10 points, by the way. So what are the similar games that you think have resource converting mechanics? If you have something else that you can suggest to me, please write in the message below. I'll check that out if I could. Well, thanks for watching. We are on the Dice Tower How to Play videos and Meeple University on YouTube. See you next time.
So what did we add to the library this week? Dominations, of course. And I'm actually trying to get a second copy. Speaking of second copies, we have a second and a third copy of Paladins of the West Kingdom going on the library. I'm not a big fan, but I know a lot of people like Firefly, so I wanted to stick that one in the library. Then we have Montana, an older game that's great. Ispahan, and then, of course, very popular Lisboa. And the Gallerist. Of course, we got to get Vasel games in there for those people who enjoy them. Then the very big giant Imperium, Spells and Steam, as well as the big giant Glenmore 2, and then a couple of smaller games. We got Terramara and SpyCon. And that, folks, is what we added to the library this week.
You just don't get it. You don't get me. It's so embarrassing.
Nah, it's not that bad.
All the other Euro games, they're all laughing at me.
Come on, you have nothing to complain about.
I could already hear him making fun of me at game night.
Oh my gosh.
Look, you don't know what it's like to be the only game without sleeves. It's embarrassing.
At least you're not on the shelf of shame. Ever think of that?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's true. I just wish our gamer took me more seriously.
You're being ridiculous.
It's the principle of the thing.
So what's coming out from the Dice Tower this week? Well, lots of reviews for sure. We're continuing this review-a-thon. I got Imperial, Spells and Steam, Glenmore 2nd Edition. I'm going to be taking a look at a few smaller little games, one called Super Cats. So that'll be fun. So that's many reviews are coming this week. Also, we recorded, when Smith was here, we recorded another top 10 list. That will be going up this Thursday, the top 10 enemies of gaming. Crowd Surfing will be going up on Wednesday, our live show there. Thursday, we'll be doing our Board Game Breakfast live, and then Friday we're playing a new Batman game live. I'm really excited about this one because it's based on one of my favorite games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but this one is with Batman. I'm really excited about this, and that's coming live Friday. All that, a podcast from Eric and myself going up this Tuesday, and of course we have many other fantastic podcasts on the Dice Tower Network. Check all of them out at dicetowernetwork.com.
Hi, this is Joe Steadman. I'm like if you took Tom Vasel and Sam Healy, mixed them together, and got something much better. No, seriously. It's great to be back. Another episode of Board Game Breakfast. I am the caveman board gamer, as that's what Tom has labeled me. I have been in a cave for the last 10 years. I've not really played any games at all, and I need your feedback. I need your help. So what I've decided to do, thanks to a lot of input, emails I received, is I'm going to look at each year on an episode. I'll look at 1 year. I'll tell you what my thoughts are, like what I want to play from that year, and I'm going to buy that game. And then I want everyone to email me and tell me what they want me to buy from that year. And I'm going to buy 2 games. So one that I want from the top 10, one that the fans have voted for, and I'm going to play them side by side and give you my opinions. I'm a wargamer, but I'm pretty eclectic in my taste. I'll play about anything. My wife's not a wargamer, so we'll play together. So I looked over the top 10 games for 2010, and the one that jumps out at me that I'm going to buy a copy of is Dominant Species. Why? Well, it's a GMT game, and I actually saw it being played on the Dice Tower Cruise, which means it has some staying power. So that's the game I'm going to pick up. What do the fans think? What should I get? Seven Wonders? That's the other game that's on the top 10 list that I've heard of before. I don't know. Now, actually, as I went through the 2010 games, I did find, I can't believe it's not in the top 10, Washington's War. It's one of my favorite games. It's one of the last games I picked up before I left the hobby. My wife and I have played it a lot, and she's not even a war gamer. It's a great game where there's different styles of play for the American player versus the British player, completely different ways of winning the game. It's a lot of fun. It's card driven. It's American history. I love this game. I love Mark Herman. He's got some great designs. I actually got excited because I was looking at Mark Herman and I got on a rabbit trail. He's re-releasing France 44. He did that game in 80-something, 86. I used to play it when I was a teenager. New graphics, new design. I'm excited. I'm going to have to get a copy of that. I think Compass Games. Someone send me a copy. I want to play it. There you go. So this week, 2010. Tell me what you think. What's your favorite game? What game should I pick up? What would be if you could get one game from 2010, what would it be? So I'm going to get Dominant Species, and I'm willing to get one more game. So I'll have 2 games. I'll play them side by side. I'll give you my thoughts on a future episode. All right, cool. Thanks for helping.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, well, today we're going to be talking about the Ticket to Ride expansion. This is France and the Old West map on the other side. But before we do that, let's talk about what we're doing to try to achieve better health.
And sometimes we're just getting victories. I like to focus on non-scale victories. And recently, I've had a ring victory. This ring is like super loose on my finger, and it wasn't a couple months ago. So I'm pretty excited about that, about how your body composition still changes even if the scale doesn't say anything. But enough about that.
All right, so Ticket to Ride, France and Old West, expansions for the main game of Ticket to Ride. On one side, France, you actually have to lay out some of the routes. You kind of plan ahead, you lay routes, and then you kind of put the trains on top of them. On the Old West side, you kind of have cities that you're starting out from, and then everything has to connect into that as well as there might be some alien appearances popping up and messing with your score a little bit.
Okay, so speaking of alien appearances, I really like that the Old West has brought Alvin back. That's so much fun, and you get to use it. And if you had the many from the Alvin and Dexter expansion, you can just put that right in this game. And so I liked how that was incorporated. I also like how in both of these maps, you kind of know what your opponent's doing. So it's kind of fun. You can block them if you wanted to, and I do enjoy that. I do want to say, caveat, Ticket to Ride is a wonderful introductory game into the hobby. And any of the maps I think would work on that, except for I don't think Ticket to Ride France would be very good to introduce somebody into the hobby. I just think that planning to plan might be a bit too much for a new gamer.
Yeah, I really enjoy both of these maps. They both add a really nice kind of a planning ahead level that I really enjoy. I'm still also working through my rankings of them. I've played a ton of Ticket to Ride maps, and eventually I'm going to rank them all. But let us know which maps you like the best of Ticket to Ride in the comments below. We'd love to hear about it. All
right, if you want to hear our full thoughts on these maps, check out our full review on YouTube under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews, or you can find us on Facebook under the same name. Well, this is Ryan, and I'm Bethany, hoping that you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Today I'm taking a look here at Think Fun made these little puzzles here. These little puzzles are fantastic. There are 4 of them here, and each of them is a puzzle, and I think I've seen almost all these puzzles done another way. They come here, and they're all very simple. Like this one here is just a puzzle with 4 pieces, and yet you are trying to get it apart. And then you have to figure out how to get them apart. And it's, like a one-time puzzle, but it's something that you can keep in your room, and you can show people and you'll be like, look, I got them apart, can you? This one here has 4 little chairs that you put together to make one big chair. Trickier than it sounds. And then the real tricky ones is the rectangle brain teaser, which has a bunch of shapes that are fit in one side of the device you turn over. It makes it smaller, and you still need to fit them in somehow. And the same thing here with some T's. I need to fit these T's inside the other side of this device. These are very similar, these 2 puzzles. They're very small, but my kids enjoy them. It's something when someone comes over, they can play with it. They're in these nice little packages here. Unfortunately, when you take them out of these packages, I don't know how to keep them. There's not like a bag to put them in. They're kind of something you just put on a shelf and mess with them that way. So I do wish there was a better way to display them and show them off or carry them around. But as it is, I think they're pretty cool. From Think Fun, definitely worth checking out. These are their brain teasers, a series of 4. I like them all. I usually go to the store and I see the big metal ones. They're very expensive. These are much cheaper than those, and they have a very much a similar feel to those. There you go.
What's up, everyone? My name is Melissa McCack, and this is Smashing Buttons and Slamming Cards. This is a segment where I talk about a video game I love and I connect it to a board game I love. And this week, I want to talk about Crash Bandicoot, the video game. It is across all sorts of different platforms. There's tons of the video game series out there. And it is this wacky sort of game. It's super vibrant, colorful, and you're going through a side-scrolling classic adventure. And you're usually trying to defeat the evil Dr. Neo Cortex, and you're going around collecting like Wumpa fruit from this Wumpa Island or whatever, and there's just all sorts of treasures to be found. I'd like to connect that to Fireball Island. So Fireball Island is another game that is super wacky, and it's vibrant, again, super colorful, just like Crash Bandicoot. I think that the colors even remind me of the video game, which is really why I probably pair them together. But same thing in this, where you're kind of going around, you're trying to get these treasures, kind of like the Wumpa fruit or the gems and stuff in Crash Bandicoot. And you're not really trying to defeat any sort of evil entity, maybe the Volcar, the curse, maybe? I don't know. But there's, fireballs coming at you, and in Crash Bandicoot, there's all sort of things coming at you, like boulders and whatever. So I really like both these games for super silly fun, and that's really it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, you could check out mine and my brother's podcast called Room 51. This past week, we actually had a guest, Ryan and Bethany, collaborate with us, which was super awesome. Anyway, I'll see you next time.
In the board game business, in the world, for whatever reason, we're often looking at other people as a measurement of ourselves. And in regard to jealousy or envy, which is often talked about as a deadly sin, and yet we often don't address the issue very much. So I remember very specifically when I first started the Dice Tower podcast, I would look and I would be super jealous of people who were at conventions like that Gathering of Friends or Gen Con, and I was like, or Essen. I was like, oh man, I wish I could go there. I only get to go to Origins. I remember looking at other people's collections and thinking, wow, those collections are so many games. I only have like 50 games. I remember looking at, when I started the Dice Tower channel, looking at other channels and saying they have so many more views. I also realized that there's always going to be people with more views. Like someone who's not in the board game world might make a video about board games and get 1 million views. And here we are scratching sometimes for 10,000. And my 10,000 views will be looked at by other people and say, wow, here I am and we barely got 1,000. So it's all relative, right? And I think sometimes in the hobby, it's problematic that we are consistently wanting more than we have now. Now, in consumerism, this is very problematic because we look at games and it's like, I want more games, 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 I want more games. But from just a level of, in anything in life, I don't think we should look at what other people have and kind of wish we could be that person. Now, this happens all the time with my job, right? People come up to me and I say, and they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I review board games. They're like, wow, it's lucky. I wish I had your job. And that makes sense. I wish I had my job too. It's a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong. I love doing what I do. But I always explain to them that I worked really hard to get there. I did it for 10 years for free, blah, 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 blah. I still like it. There's things about it I don't like. Every day I'm answering emails and doing administrative work and stuff. But yeah, it's fantastic. But at the same time, I can look at someone else and what they're doing and be envious and jealous of them. But at the same time, to be content is such a good thing. Now, I think that we all have drives, and I think that content and having a drive is not necessarily a bad thing. To drive to do more, to do better. One of the reasons that I shrank Dice Tower East this year a bit, part of, there's a lot of different reasons involved with that, but one of them is I was like, I'm going to make this the biggest convention on earth, and I was like, well, wait a minute. Is that what I really want this convention to be? And so with a lot of things, there's always this, I want to be like this, be like this. I think I want to be like myself. Just because a game is super popular doesn't mean I have to have it if I don't really want it. Just because someone else got every single piece for a game doesn't invalidate what I have now. Someone gets more views on their YouTube channel, that's okay. Are people enjoying my channel? That's fantastic. My collection is great. I don't have to look at someone else's and suddenly feel like mine is less. This comparison that we do between ourselves and other people hurts ourselves more. There's no race to have the biggest and best collection. There's no race to have the biggest and best of anything. Yes, in business there's competition and you want to be the best. And with our show, I'm always striving to do the best that we can. And I do, in a sense, compete. I look at, these people are doing that, we can do better. But at the end of the day, I need to be content with what we've done. Fixing errors, of course, trying to do better than ourselves. But at the end of the day, I need to be able to sleep at night without worrying, these other people are more successful than me. This person has a bigger game collection than me. This person has every HeroScape piece and I don't have all of them. Those sorts of things will just cause stress, and oftentimes we put them on ourselves. So that's what I'm thinking about today. Let's keep moving.
Metagames are a little hard to describe. Commonly when we're talking about board games, the metagame is something that is happening kind of above the table. It is kind of bringing things that are outside of the game into the game. So it could be relationships from outside of the game. It could be experiences that you've had with the other players while playing this game or with playing other games. This happens a lot in social deduction games where you might say, Rachel, she's always the traitor. Rachel, she's always the werewolf. I'm always going to vote for her. It's not, that's super not true. She's not always. But within the game, that might occur. Now, it could also happen where, you're playing a bunch of games in a row and somebody might say, you backstabbed me in the last game, I'm going to attack you this time. That's also the metagame. That is not within the rules of the game. The metagame might also refer to in like video games or collectible games where the cards in the games rotate through. So in a game like Magic or even like Pokemon, the cards that are available for that the different tournaments or different seasons of that game might rotate out. And so the metagame would be the cards within those seasons of the game that are most effective within that rule set and within the other cards that are there. That would be also considered a metagame. That's it.
It's Dan and Sarah
with Gaming with the People.
And we are here to talk about
love. Fog of love.
It sounded like I was going to say something super different because I started with an F. Love.
So, Valentine's Day is approaching, so we thought, perfect opportunity to break out Fog of Love. It's billed as a romantic comedy simulator, basically. Different scenarios, different traits, and you try to stay together. This is such a tough thing to talk about, because I think, as a game, it doesn't work for us. But you can't really think of it as a game per se. It's more of like an experience.
And, we've been married 10 years and we have 3 small children, so I'm set on experiences. I am here for fun and to beat this man at a game.
You ultimately have to make decisions that are either on what you think your character would do or you think the other character is going to do to benefit the group. And in that sense, it's kind of brilliantly thematic. Because in a relationship, you sometimes have to compromise. You sometimes have to...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Most relationships statistically fail. So it's...
Wow, a downer here for Valentine's Day.
No, but I'm just saying, this is why I'm so...
Good luck out there, guys.
It's interesting because it's realistic in that way.
The traits I got... Manipulative, hypocritical, and a
workaholic.
Oh, man, just such a combo. And I was a fashion model, so obviously not a stretch. Dan was an internet celebrity.
Oh,
obviously.
Almost there.
High Dice Tower. But he was also kind and...
Well, that's the thing. So we had kind of contradictory. In this game, you have different attributes.
Well, you, as an internet celebrity, were very lazy. You were on the other end. Because creating content for the internet, who does that?
Yeah. Well.
I'm just saying, I would not swipe right on this game.
And let's just say real quick, the components are amazing. So,
Well, that's our Debbie Downer review. Happy Valentine's Day, guys.
so ultimately, never played again, but I appreciate the thought that went into it and the effort that went into it. And maybe for some people, this game...
Not maybe, I'm sure this is a popular game.
It is a popular game.
I would love to hear from people who love this game. Will you tell us, what did you love about Fog of Love? For us, not true love.
Yeah.
This
With
game.
with the game.
With the game. This, obviously.
Oh, close one.
Total true love. Yeah.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Thanks so very much to everybody. I'm excited about this week. Lots of cool things coming out. We'll see you all as the week goes by. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. Check out all of our stuff. You can go to Dice Tower conventions for all our different conventions. I will hope to see you guys at those. Dice Tower West is only a week and a day away. What? But right now, it's time to get back to gaming. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.